Good afternoon, good evening, YouTube. Cuts by Dre, New Styles Mobile Barber, back in the building for another haircut tutorial episode. Today we're going to be doing the mid to low bald temple fade on a young fella. I'm going to show you how I go through my fades. I'm going to show you my techniques. And if you've been watching my channel, you know that I'm all about speed. I'm all about trying to maximize my dollar, maximize your dollar, get you to cut faster, teach you to cut faster so that you can make as much money as you possibly can in this business. As you know, we don't get paid by the hour, we get paid by the cut. So, with that said, you want to cut as many heads as you possibly can in an hour. Not rushing over the heads, still doing an excellent job, giving an excellent service, but getting the haircuts out in a timely manner. And my idea of a timely manner is you should be finished with every haircut, no matter what it is, under 30 minutes. If you're doing a full fade, ball fade all the way around, under 30 minutes, around the 28, 25-minute mark. If you're doing a temple fade like I'm doing today, you should be able to get that done around 20 minutes. If you're doing even all over haircuts, you should be able to get them done around 15 minutes. Now, if you're doing scissor cutting and you got scissor work to do, of course, that will take a little bit longer. But of course, you got to charge a little bit more money for that too. But right now, let's get into this haircut. Let's get started. Let's go. All right. As I said earlier, I'm working on a mid to low temple fade on the young fella here. If you're new to my channel, make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, hit that notification bell. I like to start out first by combing the client's hair out as you normally would. Consult with the client, see what kind of haircut that he wants, and just pretty much comb it out or pick it out. Get all those hairs standing up so that you can get an even, nice, clean canvas to work with. Preferably the customer coming in with the hair already washed so that it can cut as smooth as possible. I like to start off with my clippers closed. I never do a ball fade with the edges. I never start off with the edges because I'm trying to cut as quickly as possible. And I believe balling with the edges first just gives you an extra step, an extra line that you have to take out. So I always start with my whatever clippers you're using. As you can see, I'm using the Babyliss Gold FX blade all the way closed, and I just go around all the way around the head and give you that first ball guideline. It's not ball, of course, but it's as close as that particular clipper or whatever clipper that you choose cut. Then I'll come back, I'll throw the half guard on, and as you can see, I'll flick up with my wrist, and I'll also go down on the hair as well, eliminating a lot of steps. You know, I don't particularly like to go around the head step 1, step 2, step 3. I think it takes a lot more time. I think if you learn this particular method, or not necessarily learn it, but practice this particular method, you'll get through your haircuts a lot faster. As you can see, I'm flicking up with the clippers, and at the same time, I'm going down. Temple fades are the easiest, in my opinion, haircuts to do. You don't have to fade all the way around. You only have to fade at the temple. It's such a small area. You can do these so fast and so easy. Of course, as you can see how I'm doing the back, I put a guard on as I go up higher. I like to flick up. Always use that wrist, man, flicking out. Flicking that wrist out is just like putting another guard on. If you flick that wrist out properly or accordingly, you don't even have to switch guards. You can almost do the whole fade with one guard, with either the half guard or a number 1 guard. As you can see here, now I'm doing what I call as a pre-shape up. I like to do this because I like to keep that area around the C cup dark. And if I don't do a pre-shape up, I'll accidentally just fade that line right out, and it'll be light right there. And when it's time for me to shape up, you know, it won't have any hair there because I'll fade it out. By me doing a pre-shape up, it gives me a dark surface to look at where the hair is so that I don't accidentally fade it out, if you know what I'm saying. I like to keep it dark there, and without doing the shape up, you can't really tell how dark it's going to be. So I like to do this early in the cut. Not a full shape up all the way around, but just around where the C cup is at, as you can see. That lets me know, okay, that's where that shape up is going to be. I don't have to use as much or any highlights at the end of the haircut. So now I'm going back in the haircut, and now I'm fading up again, but I'm making sure I stay away from that dark part. I'm going to keep that dark C cup line as dark as possible. So the next day when he washes his hair out, you know, if I do give him highlights, when the highlights wash out or fade out, he still has a nice dark sharp line there. So as you can see, same technique. I'm going around his head with the flick motion up, guard all the way open, taking that line out, flicking the clippers. As you can see, this haircut is not sped up, it's in real time, so you can see just about how long it should take to cut, you know, a basic temple fade and a beard. After I flick up, I like to flip that clipper around at the same time and go down with it. Bring that bulk down and kind of smooth it down so that I can see what I need to fade into next. Then I'll flick right back up again. I think this method allows you to cut a lot faster, and it's also gives you a smooth haircut. It's not like I'm rushing or anything. It's not like I'm trying to skip steps, but it's effective and it gives you a quicker haircut, you know, in my opinion. As you can see here, I do the same thing. I got the number 1 or the half guard on, depending how dark he wants to keep his fade. If he wants to keep it low and dark, then I'll normally put a half guard on, and I'll just keep the fade real low at the bottom. If he likes a high fade, a high tempo fade, then I'll put that number 1 guard on, and I'll just go up even higher. Now, as you can see, I'm bringing the top down. Before I even finish up the fade on the sides or the back, I like to bring the top down to the length that the customer wants it. That way, I can bring the top down, kind of blend in with the fade so that I'm not fading twice. You know, if you don't bring that top down early and you wait to the end of the haircut to bring the top down, then you're gonna find yourself cleaning up your fade again to blend it into the top. So it's a good idea to either cut the top first or cut the top early, you know, into your haircut so that you don't have to fade twice, if you understand what I'm saying. When I mean fading twice, I mean when I go back to do cleanup work or detail work on this particular fade, the top is already lifted, he wants it, so that I can just fade right into that. So that's what I'm doing right now. I'm just going around this hair with a particular, I probably started with a 1.5, then I'll go down to a 1. I always like to start with a bigger blade because all hair cuts differently. You know, I don't care what kind of guard you have or what kind of clipper you have. Every client's hair is going to cut differently. All hair is not created equal, and every hair, every blade of hair, and every client hair, regardless of ethnicity or not, their hair is going to cut differently. So the only way you can learn how to cut all types of hair is through practice, practice, practice. This particular client here, he has a nice grade of hair. It's dark, but it's a nice grade. It's almost a little bit semi-curly, but it's not that curly. So you got to be careful when you're going in the hair, you know, especially when you're cutting against the grain. You got to be careful, and you need to learn through practice of how much hair, you know, the clipper will take off. And I also like to cut with a pair of clippers with a sharp enough blade where you can actually hear the hair come off as well as seeing it come off. So as you can see right now, I'm still fading out, man. I'm doing detail work. I'm still flicking up, and I'm still fading down, using just pretty much 1 guard to do this whole haircut, and just taking out particular imperfections as I see them as I go around. Not rushing on the client at all, taking my time, but methodically going around his haircut, you know, to give him the smoothest fade that I possibly can. I like to use these particular clippers right here. These are my Gold FX. It's an older version, but I got a blade on here that's not as sharp. There are a lot of blades out here in this market, and the sharpest blade is not always the best blade when you're fading. If you got a blade too sharp, you can take off too much hair just by clicking it or flicking it, and you might take off too much hair, and then you got to move the fade up a little bit higher to correct something. So find you a blade, and this particular blade right here is the beveled, it's the rounded edge blade, and it doesn't cut as sharp as some of the flat or straighter blades. You know, do your homework, do your research, make sure you find the best blades for you. Now I'm doing the shape up. This is the final shape up, and I'm using them Stylecraft flex clippers. In my opinion, these are the sharpest clippers that I have ever cut with, and I've been in the game for over 32 years cutting hair professionally. And these are some of the sharpest that I've ever used. They don't bite the skin if you adjust them correctly. They don't leave a scab. You know, I'm sure some of you barbers have cut clients that they had scabs around their neck because the previous barber just cut too deep, cut them all up. These particular Stylecraft, these flexes, man, when you adjust them, when you zero gap them just right, they give you a razor sharp line, and they do not cut the client. I've never cut a client with these clippers ever, and they give the best lines ever. Now, I don't use them around the bottom of the neck as much. I use another edger around the bottom of the neck because the bottom of the neck is a little bit more sensitive. But these are my cleanup clippers as far as when I'm shaping up, and they do an excellent job. So we're rounding off this haircut, man, coming towards the end of it now. You know, we're doing our shape up. After that, I'm gonna do some more detail work on the beard, and we're gonna be finishing up this haircut with under 20 minutes. Hey, make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, make sure you hit that notification bell. Also, make sure you leave comments below, man. Comments about this haircut, or comments, or you know, any other haircut you might want to see me do. But I will be posting haircuts on a weekly basis now. I'm getting back into the game, so I will be posting haircuts on a regular. Now I'm fading into his beard. Also, I noticed, you know, a lot of barbers like to fade real low in the beard, like to take that fade, that reverse fade is what we would call it, real low. I don't like that, you know. I like, and that's just my personal preference, I don't like that reverse fade into the beard to be too far down. I like to keep it towards the top, top of the ear, just about 1.5 inches maybe between the temple fade and where his beard starts. I like to keep that beard as full as possible, you know. Some people love their beards, and when you fade it down too much, you know, they're like, oh, you done cut too much of my beard off. So I personally think it looks better when you blend into that beard, but you keep it right at the top, not too far down. As you can see, this guy right here, a light blend into the beard, doesn't go too far down. Then I'll just go down, take off the loose ends according to what he wanted, take off some of the loose ends with the beard with this Gold FX clipper again. One of my go-to clippers as far as fading and as far as cleaning up, as far as touch-up work, because I know it's not razor sharp. It won't take off too much hair, so I don't have to do too much correction work, you know. So right now I'm cleaning up his mustache with them flexes. Once again, one of the best clippers that I've ever used as far as shape up clippers. So definitely, yo, if you can get your hands on one of them, definitely cop one of them. So I'm also cleaning up his mustache with the same clippers, lightly going around it because these clippers are so sharp, you know, they will give you a nice line. As you can see, I'm lightly going under his neck here. You see, I'm not using those flexes. I switched over to my FX edges because underneath the neck is a little bit more sensitive, actually a lot more sensitive than the top of the neck or the forehead. So I never use those flexes under the neck because even though they won't cut you, they are a lot more sensitive. I like to use these clippers right here on the neck because they're sharp, but they're not too sharp. They won't, you know, have the client jumping or irritating the skin any. And you gotta just know your clippers. You gotta know your blades, man. That's not something that I can actually show you or teach you online. That's just gonna come through practice. You gotta go through different blades, and you'll notice that every time you get a pair of clippers, they're gonna cut different. So right now I'm just cleaning his fade up, doing touch-up work, doing, you know, work. Here I got that Andes shaver. one of their latest shavers. I like it. It's a real powerful shaver. I just go around the temple at the very bottom. I never put the shaver on the back of my clients' necks. Never. I see a lot of barbers doing that. I'm not knocking anybody, but having the experience that I have and being in the game as long as I have, putting that shaver on the back of the neck will bump up a lot of clients. So I tend to stay away from that. I just use my closest clippers. Here I'm giving them some highlights, highlighting them just a little bit. I'm using that Temptation spray right there. It's real quick. I know the airbrush machines, I've used them over the years. They take a little bit more time, so I went to the Temptation. This is what I call my powder line, my talcum powder line. You see a lot of barbers using the chalk and they're using the razor. Well, of course, if you're doing haircuts under 20 minutes, you don't really have time to do a razor. And a lot of customers, especially young guys like this, don't even need a razor line. Their skin is already soft, their skin is young. You don't need to put a razor on this line. So this is what I call my powder line. I'm just dipping the clippers into the powder, dipping the blade into the powder and going around his hair. As you can see, the clipper that I'm using is an open blade clipper. You know, you can find these at your beauty supply store too. It's not a real powerful clipper. Some of you guys might use these for designs or on kids because they're not that powerful. But after I put that powder on, I pretty much come back with a duster, brush it right off, and then I'll clean it up, as you can see, with those flex clippers again, just to take off some more of that extra powder. This is a highlighter, but it also lets you see those baby hairs that's on the head, the forehead as well. That powder kind of slides down the hair, and you'll notice once you do this, you'll see a lot of hair left on the client's head that you didn't even notice that was there. That powder kind of catches it, and then you can see it. And as always, man, if you're a professional barber, you got to finish your cuts off with some shears, man. Clippers can't always get all the hairs off, man. They're sticking up, it's out of proportion. But those shears will always clean up the haircut. The customers will like that extra shear work. They know you're taking time and you're detailing the work, and they'll appreciate that. Now I'm closing this guy off here, man. I got my Boost FX, this is the blue version. The blade on this particular clipper is a lot sharper than the gold clipper, so I know not to go up too high. I know that I can sometimes use the edge of the clipper, or I'll do a lot stronger flicking motion, because if I go in too far with it, I'll have to fix something with this particular clipper. I know how sharp that was. So I'm just cleaning them up now once again with that flex, getting this cut on point. So we almost about finished up here. So if you like what you seen, y'all, give me a thumbs up, subscription, notification. Hey, let me know what you think right here. Cuts by Dre, New Styles Mobile Barber. This is the finished product. Once again, I thank y'all for checking me out, and I will see you in the next video. Make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, man. Make sure you hit that notification bell. Peace, and I'm out.